pour le Sénégal. Jana together with son manga jangale gita do bouger do faywa. Nga élève te tolo ci examen linga sarla am na fita mo gëna assuré ko.
Back again, Shalisa. Today we're going to talk more. It's going to be much more interactive. It's about socialization. How do we associate with people? How do we interact with people? And it's all about personal identification. For example, you go to a the police office, and then and you have to do your personal identification. What is it, personal identification? What does it entail, personal identification? Of course, we know it's the name, your date of birth. Sometimes it might precise your age, your address. You're talking about yourself. It's something personal. What do you want people to know about you? You can talk about where you live at, where you're from, where you're born, where were you born at, your nationality. You can talk about even the sex, is it male or female? You can talk about your religion, which sometimes could be a little bit personal. Sometimes people talking about your eating skill. Are you a vegetarian? Are you carnivorous? So that could be another way to add to your personal identification. Sometimes you can also talk about what you like, what you don't like, your likes and your dislikes. Sometimes you talk about your temperament. Temperament means, are you cold? Are you calm? Are you easily nervous? Do you easily get angry? Are you happy all the time? Are you warm? Are you 50? Warm means you're 50 for sometimes hot, sometimes cold. You can even go to the extent of saying what are your political preferences. So these are all your personal identifications. When they ask, it's important that you state those. When you present yourself, what do you say? My name is Sarah. I am called Sarah. You don't say I'm called. Is informal. You won't say it's informal. You say I am. It's more formal. Remember last lesson that we talked about formal and informal? You say I am or my name is Sarah. But if you have to use both names, like your first and your last name means your family name. Sometimes they'll ask you for your first name, your middle name, and your last name. And your last name is often the family name. You don't say, oftentimes we hear, my name is Sarah Smith. No, these are two names. Why would you say my name is if you have two names? It's my names are, because you present yourself, my names are Sarah Smith. My names are Sarah Smith. I come from Canada. I was born in England. Originally means my parents. Where are your parents from? Originally, because sometimes you could be living somewhere, but you're born elsewhere. So it means that you have double nationality. So sometimes you have a nationality. For example, you could say, I was born in Cameroon, but my nationality is American. Let's just say they're two different places, where you're born at and where you take your citizenship from. What your likes are. I like chocolate. I like to cook. I like to read. I don't like animals. I don't like loud noises. What are your fears? I'm afraid of heights. Those are your personal identifications, your personal traits, your personal things that you like. When I mean personal, it means you might choose to say, you may choose not to say. Oh, what faith are you? Faith means what religion are you? Are you a Muslim? Are you a Christian? What are you? Are you atheist? Are you Jewish? What's your faith? Sometimes you might go at the next and say, what's your sexual orientation? Are you straight? Are you gay? Those are all your personal stuff that you may or may not want to put it in. What is your eating habit? Are you carnivore? Are you vegetarian, or do you eat everything? So you see, those are different things about your personal identification that you need to know about, that you need to present. Let's go to introduction. Introduction is something that we do almost all the time, directly or indirectly, we don't even know. But of course, there are two ways of introduction. There's a formal way and an informal way. For example, let's go the formal way. I told us that formal is when we address someone that is more important. Let's say a business conference, a business meeting, someone you're meeting for the first time, somebody that is important, that is more formal, that you're trying to be more serious. That is a formal setting. And you go and you want to introduce another colleague, for example, to your boss. So, what do you tell that person? Do you just go up to the boss and say, hey, meet Mrs. John or meet Mr. John? No. In a conversation, what do you tell that person? You say, please, sir or ma'am, let me introduce. Let me introduce. Let me introduce. Let me introduce. Or you may say, may I introduce? May I introduce? That's a formal setting. Oh, may I introduce Mr. John? Mr. John, please meet my boss, Mr. John. Meet my boss, Mr. Kane. Oh, good morning, Mr. Kane. Good morning, sir. That is how you do it. Or may I introduce? May I introduce? What if it's an informal introduction, an informal setting? You have friends, you have colleagues, you have maybe kids, and you want to introduce a colleague or a friend to another friend. You say, this is, for example, informal. You say, this is Mr. K. This is Mr. John. Mr. John, this is Mr. K. That is informal. It's friendly, it's comfortable, it's at ease. You don't have to go through all that protocol. You can even shortcut it. You can use abbreviations. This is Mr. Paul. Meet Mr. K. Meet Mr. K. You see, it's short, it's precise, it's just very friendly. This is meet Mr. K. Or another one is John, Mr. K, Mr. K, John. See, it's short. You just call both names. John, Mr. K, John. Or everyone, Mr. K, Mr. K. This is everyone. It's informal. It's just short. It's just easy. That's like different ways of introducing someone. So you have to be able to identify how to introduce, in what setting to introduce, to make a formal introduction, in what setting to make an informal introduction to someone. Or even if it's your personal, you're going somewhere and you want to introduce yourself. For example, to see your boss for the first time. Of course, you come in. Of course, you always have to knock at the door, seek permission to come in, often seek permission to sit. And then you say, good morning, sir. I am. You don't say, good morning, sir. I am Mrs. Kane. Good morning, sir. I am Mrs. Kane. So you say, or if it's an informal, you just walk in and say, hi. Hi, I'm Mrs. Kane. Howdy. That's another way of doing introduction. Now let's go to the greeting. How to greet. Greetings. Greetings. I told us last time about greetings. Greetings. The different greetings. We know that there's a formal in every setting in life. You've got to know that there are two ways, the formal and the informal. You should be able to identify when to be formal and when to be informal. And so the formal greetings and the informal greetings and informal. Hey is informal. Hi is informal. That's being too comfortable. You don't meet someone for the first time, especially if it's your boss or someone you feel that is superior, and you say, hey, it's too informal. It's too friendly. You say, hey, you say hi, you say howdy, you say what's up, what's up. Sometimes you hear people say, how? Sometimes you hear people say, how far? How far? That's informal. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying it's informal. Personally, I think when you meet someone in the morning, the first thing you should do is to say good morning. You don't get up in the morning and see someone, you say hey or hi. That's personal, you know. Formal. Some people say hello is okay, depending on the setting. Good morning, of course, we know that. These are the formal greetings. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, and good evening, good night. Those are the greetings. You get up, you say, oh, good morning. How do you do, sir? How do you do? You don't say howdy. You don't say how far. You say how do you do? How do you do? How do you do? You can even go further to say how do you do, sir? How do you do, ma'am? I'm fine. How do you respond? I'm fine, thank you. And yourself. I'm fine. I am fine. I'm fine. I'm doing okay. I am doing okay. I'm doing okay. Thank you. It's thank you.
Senegal, jana tukero masana manga jangale gita do bouger do faywa. Nge elef te tolo chi exam linga sarla am na fita mugen.